The blind horse who defied all odds to win a race. But what happened next will leave you stunned. Lumos was born into a world that refused to see his worth. From the moment he took his first wobbly steps, it was clear something was different. His eyes, though large and full of a strange, cloudy beauty, saw nothing. The other foals would dart around the open pastures, playing and chasing each other under the sun, while Lumos stayed close to his mother, guided by her gentle nudges and the soothing rhythm of her breathing. People whispered about him, their words laced with pity and dismissal. "A blind horse is no use to anyone," they said. "He'll never amount to anything." But Lumos wasn't one to give up, even if the world already had. He stumbled often, falling over rocks and bumping into fences, but each time he would stand again, shaking the dust from his coat with a determination that seemed almost defiant. There was something in his spirit, an unspoken fight, that refused to be extinguished. Still, as the months passed, even his owners began to lose hope. To them, he was a burden, a reminder of their failed expectations. They considered selling him, perhaps even putting him down. After all, what good was a horse that couldn't see the path ahead? It was during one such discussion that Aiden appeared, a young man with a quiet confidence and an unshakable belief in second chances. He wasn't wealthy, nor did he own a grand stable filled with prize-winning horses. But what Aiden lacked in resources, he made up for with a heart that seemed to understand the unspoken pain of creatures like Lumos. When he first saw the blind horse, he didn't see a mistake or a failure. He saw potential, a soul that had been overlooked and underestimated, just like he had been many times before. Without hesitation, Aiden took Lumos under his care. People laughed at his decision, calling him foolish and naive. "That horse is a lost cause," they told him. But Aiden didn't listen. He saw what others couldn't, a fire in Lumos that hadn't yet been extinguished. From the moment Lumos was born, life had been an uphill battle. He came into the world on a chilly morning, surrounded by whispers of disappointment. The stable hands noticed immediately that something was wrong. His eyes were clouded, unfocused, and unseeing. While other foals instinctively bounded around their mothers, Lumos hesitated, his movements uncertain. The vet confirmed the worst. Lumos was blind, and he always would be. For his owners, this news was devastating. They had hoped for a strong, capable horse that could one day race or work the land. Instead, they saw Lumos as a liability, an animal that would drain resources with no return. They let him stay with his mother in the farthest corner of the pasture, but it was clear he wasn't wanted. The other foals avoided him, their playful gallops leaving him behind. Often he would stand still, head tilted as if trying to listen to a world he couldn't see, his isolation growing with each passing day. Despite the coldness of his surroundings, Lumos showed an incredible will to adapt. He memorized the layout of the small pasture through touch and sound, learning to avoid obstacles and finding his way to his mother. He followed her closely, using her steady presence as a guide. But as he grew older, even his mother's comfort couldn't protect him from the harshness of reality. His owners decided he wasn't worth the cost of keeping. The whispers turned into plans to sell him off to anyone who would take him. Or worse. That was when Aiden stepped into the picture. A young man with a quiet demeanor. Aiden had always been drawn to the underdogs of the world. He didn't come from wealth, nor did he have a background in breeding or training horses. But what he did have was an uncanny ability to see potential where others saw none. When he first laid eyes on Lumos, standing alone in the pasture with his ears twitching to catch every sound, Aiden felt an instant connection. Ignoring the scoffs of the stable hands, he approached the blind horse with patience and care. While others viewed Lumos's blindness as a flaw, Aiden saw it as a challenge worth taking on. "If he can't see, he'll learn to feel," Aiden said with quiet determination. He wasn't just rescuing a horse, he was betting on a partnership that would require trust, innovation, and an unbreakable bond. Aiden's role in Lumos's life was transformative. Where others saw limitations, he saw opportunities. He began their journey with small steps, teaching Lumos to respond to voice commands and gentle touches. It was a slow, painstaking process, but Aiden never wavered. He spent hours by Lumos's side, guiding him through unfamiliar terrain and teaching him to navigate the world using his other senses. Their progress was anything but easy. Lumos struggled to trust, his initial fear and hesitation making each step forward a challenge. There were moments when frustration threatened to overwhelm both of them, but Aiden refused to give up. He saw every stumble as a lesson, every setback as a chance to grow. In time, Lumos began to trust Aiden completely, following his voice and touch, with a confidence that surprised everyone. Through their shared journey, Aiden and Lumos became inseparable. Their bond wasn't just that of a trainer and his horse. It was a partnership built on mutual faith and resilience, a testament to what could be achieved when someone believes in the impossible. Lumos's transformation was nothing short of miraculous, though it was anything but easy. Aiden knew that training a blind horse required more than just traditional methods. It demanded creativity, patience, and a profound understanding of trust. He started small, introducing Lumos to basic commands in a safe, enclosed space. At first, Lumos hesitated, his movements stiff and uncertain, but Aiden's soothing voice became a lifeline in the darkness. Using a series of soft clicks and whistles, Aiden developed a language that Lumos could understand. A gentle whistle signaled forward movement, while a low hum meant to stop. Aiden's touch became equally important. Light pressure on Lumos's side meant to turn, and a reassuring pat on his neck was a reward for a job well done. Days turned into weeks, as Aiden patiently repeated these lessons, his unwavering dedication slowly building Lumos's confidence. One day, Aiden introduced a new challenge, a narrow path lined with small obstacles. The first attempt was rough. Lumos bumped into barriers and froze midway, his ears flicking nervously at every unfamiliar sound. Aiden knelt beside him, speaking softly, guiding him step by step. With each attempt, Lumos grew bolder, his steps more assured. By the end of the week, he could navigate the course with precision, relying entirely on Aiden's cues. As Lumos's training progressed, Aiden added more complexity. He tied small bells to the reins, their soft jingle acting as a guide. The sound of Aiden's voice became an anchor, pulling Lumos through increasingly difficult courses. Aiden even introduced new textures underfoot, gravel, sand, and grass, teaching Lumos to sense his environment through the feel of the ground. Their breakthrough moment came during an open field exercise. Aiden, standing at the far end of the field, called out to Lumos with a single whistle. Without hesitation, Lumos surged forward, his powerful strides carrying him across the field with a grace and confidence that stunned onlookers. The sight of a blind horse galloping so freely brought tears to Aiden's eyes. It was as if Lumos had learned to see through sheer trust in his caretaker. The bond between them deepened with every challenge overcome. Aiden introduced exercises designed to mimic real race conditions, turns, sudden stops, and bursts of speed. At first, the idea of training Lumos for an actual race seemed absurd to everyone except Aiden. "He doesn't need sight to feel the rhythm," Aiden would say, his voice filled with quiet determination. And Lumos proved him right. What made their journey truly remarkable was not just the progress Lumos made, but the way he inspired everyone who witnessed it. Stable hands who once doubted the blind horse began to cheer him on, their skepticism melting into admiration. Lumos's story spread, and people came from miles away to watch the unlikely duo train. Each step of their journey was a testament to resilience, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds, determination and trust could create something extraordinary. The news spread like wildfire. A blind horse named Lumos was set to compete in an upcoming local race. At first, it sounded like a joke, something people would talk about with disbelief and laughter. But as the details unfolded, the laughter faded, replaced by a buzz of curiosity and excitement. The announcement wasn't just about a horse. It was about a story of determination, defying expectations, and rewriting the rules of what was possible. The race organizers hesitated at first, uncertain if a blind horse could safely compete. But Aiden, with his calm yet persuasive demeanor, convinced them. "Lumos isn't just any horse," he explained. "He's trained for this, and he's ready." Reluctantly, they agreed, adding a special clause for safety measures. Word quickly spread among competitors, some scoffing at the notion, while others were intrigued. The official race posters soon featured Lumos's name alongside the other contenders, each known for their speed and strength. But unlike the others, Lumos's inclusion carried an air of mystery and inspiration. The local press picked up the story, dubbing Lumos the horse without sight, but with vision. Articles and interviews with Aiden detailed their incredible journey, sparking interest far beyond the small racing community. As the race day approached, opinions were divided. Some believed Lumos's entry was a publicity stunt, a way to draw attention without any real chance of success. Others, however, saw it differently. "If this horse even crosses the finish line, it'll be a victory," one spectator said. The sentiment resonated with many. Lumos wasn't just racing for a title, he was racing to prove that limitations were often just illusions. Aiden, however, stayed focused. While the world debated and speculated, he poured all his energy into preparing Lumos. The announcement may have sparked attention, but Aiden knew the real challenge lay ahead. He doubled their training sessions, fine-tuning every command, every response. Lumos, unaware of the growing attention around him, continued to train with the same quiet determination that had carried him this far. The night before the race, the stables were unusually quiet. Aiden sat beside Lumos, brushing his mane and speaking softly to him. "Tomorrow, we show them what you're made of," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Lumos stood still, his ears twitching at the sound of Aiden's voice. In that moment, it was clear. They weren't racing for trophies or recognition. They were racing for something much bigger: hope, faith, and the belief that no obstacle was insurmountable. The morning of the race arrived with an electrifying energy in the air. Crowds gathered early, filling the stands with a mix of curiosity, skepticism, and hope. The sun cast a golden glow over the track, the rhythmic pounding of hooves in practice runs echoing through the grounds. Among the sleek, muscular horses prepared for the competition, Lumos stood out, not because of his physique, but because of his story. Whispers rippled through the audience as people pointed at the blind horse with his calm but alert posture, guided solely by Aiden's steady hand. As the start time approached, the tension grew palpable. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers, listing the names of the contenders. When Lumos's name was called, a wave of murmurs and applause filled the air. Some clapped out of respect, while others laughed, unable to believe a blind horse would even attempt to run. Aiden ignored the noise. His focus was entirely on Lumos, crouching beside him for one final moment of connection. "You've got this," he whispered, running his hand along Lumos's neck. Lumos flicked his ears, his body tense but ready. The years of training, the countless hours of trust-building, all boiled down to this single moment. The horses were led to the starting line, the sharp scent of dirt and sweat filling the air. The competitors exchanged glances, their riders whispering last-minute strategies. Aiden mounted Lumos with practiced ease, his heart pounding but his mind steady. He could feel the weight of every skeptical eye on them, but he refused to let it shake his confidence. When the starting bell rang, the air exploded with energy. The horses surged forward, hooves kicking up clouds of dust as the crowd roared. Lumos hesitated for the briefest moment, his ears swiveling to catch Aiden's cues. "Go!" Aiden commanded, his voice clear and firm. Without hesitation, Lumos leaped into motion, his powerful strides carrying him forward. The first stretch of the race was a blur of speed and chaos. The other horses darted ahead, their riders glancing back at Lumos with disbelief. But Aiden remained calm, guiding Lumos through the noise and frenzy with precision. Using the cues they had practiced endlessly, he steered Lumos around the bends, his voice cutting through the din. As the race progressed, something remarkable began to happen. Lumos, once trailing behind, started to find his rhythm. His other senses took over, feeling the vibrations of the track and responding to Aiden's every command. The crowd watched in stunned silence as the blind horse gained ground, overtaking one competitor after another. The final stretch loomed ahead, the finish line shimmering in the distance. By now, Lumos was neck and neck with the front runners. The leading horse, a sleek bay named Thunderstrike, seemed untouchable, his rider urging him forward with everything he had. But Aiden knew Lumos had more to give. For a moment, everything else faded away. The clapping, the cheering, the applause. It was just Aiden and Lumos, standing in the quiet aftermath of a battle that had been won, not by strength alone, but by spirit. The crowd slowly began to filter around them, still whispering in amazement. But Aiden was lost in the moment, focusing entirely on the horse who had given everything. Lumos may have been blind, but he saw something the others could not. A vision beyond the obvious. And it had led him to victory. This wasn't just the story of a horse who defied expectations. It was the story of every underdog, every person or animal who has been told they're not enough, who's been told their limitations will hold them back. Lumos had proven that limitations are not the end. They're only the beginning of the journey to greatness. His victory wasn't simply the crossing of a finish line. It was a testament to the fact that no matter what life throws at us, we are capable of overcoming it if we refuse to give up. Aiden bent down and ran his fingers through Lumos's mane, whispering softly, "You did it, buddy. We did it." The words were simple, but they carried a weight that only those who have fought together through the hardest of times can understand. They had both been through their own struggles, but together they had overcome them. In that moment, the message was clear. It didn't matter how many people doubted them, how many thought the odds were impossible. What mattered was that they never stopped believing, not in each other and not in themselves. Lumos had shown the world that being blind didn't mean you couldn't see the way forward. It didn't mean you couldn't run the race and finish it with everything you had. And for everyone watching that day, the lesson was unforgettable. No matter how dark the road may seem, there's always a way through. It might not always be clear, but with faith, determination, and an unwavering belief in what's possible, victory is within reach. The race was over, but the journey, the one they had all been a part of, was just beginning. Lumos had proven that the impossible could be achieved when the heart leads the way, and for that, he would always be a champion. If you've been inspired by Lumos's incredible journey and the bond he shared with Aiden, we'd love to hear from you. If you believe that determination and heart can overcome any challenge, send a super thanks to show your appreciation for this unforgettable story. Your support means the world and helps us share more stories of hope, resilience, and triumph with the world. Thank you for watching, and remember, no matter what obstacles lie ahead, anything is possible when you believe.